Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Student Spin podcast. Today is July the 8th, 2020. I would like to remind everybody that any opinions expressed here are not necessarily those of our sister production, The 6 Mile Post. I am Austin Williams and I'm joined by my great co-host, Kimberly and Sarah. How are you guys doing this morning?
Doing good. How are you?
Yeah.
So how was you guys 4th of July? Do anything fun? Get out of the house?
I went and watched the Rome fireworks from one of the levees. It was a lot of fun. They put on a really good show this year.
I was old and boring. My kids were with their dad, so I stayed home and I slept.
Yeah, I went down to Canton in Cherokee and saw that everybody was on the side of the road watching fireworks. That they parked on the sidewalks and the median. So it was crazy, but always love to watch some fun fireworks. So I'm glad we all did something, I guess. So I guess we can go in and start with the school news. Kimberly, what you got for us?
All right, so the Student Life Department is being dissolved. We do have that information. That's about all the information I have right now. I know there are going to be 10 employees that are going to not have a job after September 18th. But that is all we know at the moment, and we will have more information on that. We're going to try to schedule an interview with the president. So we will get more information on that as it comes available. Then we have July 22nd is the fee payment deadline for the fall semester. So if you owe the school money and you still want to take your classes, you need to pay by July 22nd. Also, the bookstore dates for fall semester are going to be the August 9th through August 26th. So I'm pretty sure that's all going to be where you have to schedule and make an appointment and go pick up your stuff or have it mailed to your house. So just be aware of those dates. And then something that has come through in our student email has been all USG, so University of System of Georgia institutions are going to require staff, students, and visitors to wear masks while inside campus and facilities. So if you are going to be taking a class on campus this fall, you will be required to wear a mask class. So that's some information you might want to know. So,
well, sucks to hear the Student Life Department being dissolved. I know people are losing jobs and schools are going to lose money about that. So it sucks to hear people are going to lose something to do. Obviously, it's a good thing that the University of System Georgia institutions are requiring us and everybody else to wear masks. I agree with that. And basically, I'm excited for school to start back up. I really am. Something to do. Summer's been pretty boring, so I've been locked in the house all day.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it because I'm going to graduate, but I've also got to take 5 classes. So, yay!
All of my classes are online, so it's just gonna, it doesn't really affect how I, do school. So, but I am glad they're taking precautions,
Yeah.
Yeah, I really feel for the teachers and the counselors that are just going to have to focus on shift towards online learning. So I know some of them just can't do it, understand it, but hopefully this semester will go smoothly enough for them and everybody, and we'll just, have a good year. That's all you can hope for.
So on to some local news. A joint Rome-Floyd Commission meeting is set for Wednesday to discuss the rise of COVID-19 cases. That's courtesy of the Rome News Tribune. Also, there is local COVID testing at the Rome Baptist Church, but there's been a lot of issues with traffic backing up and just long lines, and just want to preface that the free COVID testing is for frontline workers, the elderly, and those showing symptoms, and it's also for those who have to get COVID testing because of their job. So just keep that in mind if you're wanting to use that free COVID testing, that there are requirements and that the surplus of people getting tested are causing some issues with long lines and all of that. So the University of Georgia confirms that there's nearly 150 cases of COVID-19. They're not releasing whether it's students or staff. The students and citizens are taking advantage of bars and restaurants reopening, so that might be a reason for the spike in cases of COVID-19. A lot of people say the younger generation are not taking it more seriously. So what are you guys' thoughts about, just how there's a spike in cases and just generations, who's taking it seriously, who's not? What do you think about that?
I think it's to be expected. There's a lot more people going out. There's a lot more people getting together and doing things. I think it's just to be expected. One thing I have noticed is while the case numbers are up, the death rate itself is down, and so that's good news. I think I don't think a lot of the cases are as severe. I know the joint Rome-Floyd Commission meeting that's set for today, they're asking that they wear masks, they're doing social distancing, and they're going to try to come up with something to kind of get our cases down. I think there's 16 cases at Floyd and 9 cases at Redmond, which is the highest it's been in a while. And I think they're trying to put into place some precautionary measures, but at the same time, I'm hoping they don't shut everything down again, because there are some businesses that just will not be able to reopen. They just won't survive another shutdown. So I'm hoping they come up with some solutions that are not going to hurt our local economy. So.
Yeah, it's hard to point it on one generation. You know, everybody really took advantage of the reopenings. Everybody was excited to get out of the house, so I understand. So it's just a group of, everybody that was just ready to get out and do something really contributed, I guess, to the second wave or whatever you're going to call it. So yeah, it sucks that it's coming back around, but it definitely, like Kimberly said, there's been, I think, a lessening in the death toll and more of just people going out and getting sick. So thankfully for that, but let's hope everything comes down sooner or later.
Right. And I think it's just so important to keep in mind too, like you said, Kimberly, that businesses just can't sustain being closed. So I realize it's like scary. It's scary for a lot of people to see the spike in numbers, but we can't just shut down the economy, because that's scary for a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I personally know people that have gotten COVID, and I personally, once they can't go to the doctor. Like they can't, once they get, tested positive, they can't really go anywhere because everybody wants them to just stay in quarantine. So it's really hard for people to actually get treated and just get out of the house and be able to do anything about it. They really just have to stay in the house and just do what they have to do. If they have underlying health conditions, they might have to get rushed to the hospital, because those are really the people that really do suffer the most from this virus. But other than that, most people have to quarantine and just suffer it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is hard to actually diagnose when you actually are told to stay home. So it is a tricky thing everybody's going through right now. I'm diagnosed with COVID. All right, so I guess we can head on to the world news. So something pretty historical, I feel like, has happened. The state of Mississippi passes a bill to remove the Confederate symbol from the state flag, the last remaining state flag featuring the Confederate symbol in the U.S. The state of Mississippi legislators passed the bill to remove the Confederate insignia on Mississippi state flag. The bill went through the House on a 91-23 votes and through the Senate with a 37-14 vote. And with the bill, it opens up an opportunity to create new design for the state flag, and state voters will vote for it this November for the new design. So I feel like that's good progress towards what everybody ultimately wants, towards equality and everything. So just getting the nasty parts of the past out of the way. Next thing we have is the President Trump pushing for school reopening this fall. Trump yesterday on the 7th, July the 7th, sat down with health and education officials and leaders from across the country, trying to argue that keeping students home outweigh the risks of the coronavirus, saying that students rely and need meals and behavioral health services. A quote from him, he says, "We want to reopen schools. Everybody wants it. The moms want it, the dads want it, and the kids want it. It's time to do it." Lily Garcia, the president of the National Education Association, gave her feedback saying Trump is not only more interested in politics than the students' lives, basically saying this is only a political move and not actually caring for the students' lives. And basically, should schools open all the way up with social distancing, or should we just let the states handle it their own way and just continuing? Should some schools stay closed? Should some stay open? What do you guys think should happen?
Well, I know I have kids at Model. So we got an email yesterday with their, what they call scenarios, reopening scenarios is what they called them. And basically there's like a red, yellow, and green scenario. We don't know. There's a lot more questions to be asked than were answered. It's basically a we don't know. This is kind of what we've put in place. We don't know what we'll open at, if it's a red, yellow, or green status, and what protocol will follow. They're having parents go ahead and register their children online. And they just, I don't think anybody really knows. And I don't know if they know what's best. They will probably reopen. I would say they would reopen, everybody going to school, and within a few weeks, we're going to have a spike in cases. They're going to shut it down for a while, and then we'll try it again and go back. I just don't think, but I do know I've seen a lot of funny things on teachers speaking out, and principals speaking out, and even administrators speaking out and saying, hey, CDC, you've given us these guidelines. The kids have to stay 6 feet apart. Have you been in a classroom? I mean, there's no way possible to do that with children and teach all of the children. And you just can't do, you can't ask a kindergartner to wear a mask all day. It's not going to happen. So even a high schooler trying to get them to wear a mask all day, it's not going to happen. So you've got to put reality into your guidelines is what you've got to do. You've got to take those guidelines and apply them to realistic situations, in my opinion. So,
yeah, it is very scary because, kids especially, they don't understand. They don't take things seriously. And how could you expect them to? We've never been through anything like this. And it's scary for principals in elementary schools. Kids are going to wear masks. Some kids going to have a Superman mask and some kids going to have a Spider-Man mask. Kids are going to want to trade masks. And it's a scary thing because you can't expect kids and middle schoolers to just understand and take things seriously. Because someone's going to ultimately, something bad's going to happen. And it's a scary thing. I think we should just follow the CDC guidelines. You can't just push, I get it. School is an important thing. Kids get free meals. Kids get free, health services. In some aspect, that's just they open because, schools have opened up their cafeteria and offered meals throughout the summer, and it's happened. I think that should stay open. Maybe some counselors can get some extra pay and just work with, kids who have mental health conditions. But something's going to have to happen soon. Hopefully nothing horrible happens, but, hoping for the best that schools can ultimately figure this out. Do you have anything to say, Sarah? Anything?
It's just interesting, just the balance that I feel like the government is in of wanting to keep people safe and also reopening, the school systems, opening the economy, because we've never been through something like this before. And like you said, children won't understand what going to school during COVID looks like. So but I don't think you can continue to keep things closed. You can't continue to keep schools closed because there are services they provide. There are, families who have been struggling with the school closures, families who have to work and can't afford sitters. School is a way for their student to be somewhere safe and to get the education they need. So for me, it's just I try not to get too heated about either or, because I realize there are pros and cons to both. But I think I just try to think about the fact that this is something we've never experienced before. So
for our last business of world news, Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State for the United States, is looking at banning TikTok and other Chinese social media apps. I know that's a sharp blow to a lot of people out there because TikTok is a wildly popular app out there.
Yes.
So basically, Pompeo stated that this is a possible move and, the government is taking this very seriously. The thing is, TikTok is owned by ByteDance, a company based in Beijing, and has been accused of being a threat to American national security and a threat to American citizens and their information. As our governments have been, in a trade war and a political war, saying that China is a communist state. And I get from what the political side is saying that they're stating, but sometimes I do think they're overestimating what the actual situation is. The app is majorly popular throughout the world, and the company itself stated that it operates separately from ByteDance, and it holds servers and data rooms in the U.S. itself. So honestly, I think they're being a bit dramatic with this because, TikTok, itself, I feel like in a way plays a role into the economy because a lot of people make money from social media.
Oh, yeah.
And, TikTok it's a very, very popular thing. So it's just very questionable if they do decide to close it. I don't think there's going to be any, riots, but it would be, it would suck, honestly, because I enjoy TikTok. I haven't learned dances, but I've seen dances. It's a funny thing to look at. There's so many animals I love to look at every day. I love the app. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'd hate to see it go.
I love TikTok. Are you kidding me? My kids have TikTok. They make videos. I don't make any videos. I don't know if you've seen the TikTok where they're like, I figured it out. Like if you don't have content, then you're just here to watch. You can watch me. I just like to watch the videos. I especially like the ones with the comedy, where they do the voiceover comedy routines. And there's one girl, Christine Snaps, who has a cactus, and she is hilarious. She's got a lazy eye. She's got a cactus. I think she's a teacher. She's 24 years old. She still lives at home. She is hysterical with her content. But I really enjoyed TikTok. I like the videos. It's just something fun in the middle of your day, especially with us being quarantined and all the rest of it, that it just it lets your brain unwind for just a little bit. So, and I agree with you, Austin. I think they're severely overestimating the control that China would have, or that they can even get this information, especially off U.S. servers, with a U.S. CEO. I mean, he's an American citizen. They've got a lot of safety and protocols in place and procedures and different things. And I just don't see it being this big problem. I think it's the government has, since the internet began, they have really tried to find a way to get in there and control what we see, what information we get and stuff. And I feel like this is one of those grabs. This is just one of those times when they're trying to use something to get in and get their foot in the door to control things. So on to good news. Sports are planning to open back up. Major League Baseball starts July 23rd and NBA starts back on July 30th. So if you are a big sports fan, then you are going to be extremely excited, especially if you love baseball and basketball.
All right, and then something else. So a Massachusetts nonprofit, which is called Brides Across America, is giving away free brides dresses to frontline workers and people in the military and just anybody who's been going through this pandemic. They're giving away free dresses, which is a good thing, giving people a break from, finding marriage and just, giving them an ease on their wallets, I guess. I feel like they deserve it. They've been going through everything. They've been going through this front line. So they just want to give thanks to people. This program, again, gives away wedding dresses to military women, first responders, but decided to include frontline workers from the pandemic to give them back their thanks. So that's a very kind gesture to the frontline workers.
Some entertainment good news for a lot of people. Hamilton is now streaming on Disney Plus. Hamilton is a multi-award winning show. I'm sure many of you have heard of it, and if you haven't heard of it, it's written, the music and lyrics by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Sorry about that. And it's about the founding father, Alexander Hamilton, and it was kind of revolutionary. It cast a lot of non-white actors as founding fathers and historical figures, and then the show, the lyrics, the music itself, it just features a lot of hip hop, R&B, pop, soul, and so it's very groundbreaking in that, and I can't wait to watch it. Haven't watched it yet. I need to set a night aside for that. It is 3 hours long. I'm planning a big movie night with some friends. I'm excited about that, and if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I know it's going to be great.
Yeah, my kids love Hamilton. They sing it constantly. And in fact, when it first came out, when it first went on Broadway, my oldest, for those that don't know, is a professional ballet dancer now. She just got accepted into Tallahassee Ballet Company. She'll be moving down there. But she was in New York City with the Joffrey Ballet. And in their rehearsal studios, Hamilton had Lin-Manuel Miranda himself and some of the cast have rented out one of the studios to actually rehearse in. And so she has a picture with him that at the time she couldn't even post on her Facebook page because it was so closely guarded. But she has a picture with Lin-Manuel Miranda. She was actually able to meet him. And she said he's a really great guy. He was super nice. But that was really kind of cool. So
I love that. I've listened to that. I've listened to this soundtrack 1,000 times. I remember when I was in theater that when we were getting ready to rehearse, we would just literally just listen to the entire soundtrack before we did anything. And it's such a great soundtrack. It's a great show. So I definitely recommend to watch 3 hours long or just listen to the soundtrack. It's a great story, amazingly written, definitely worth the watch.
Yeah.
So what you guys been listening to during this quarantine?
Okay, I am the old fogey of the group. So I'm going to give y'all a throwback. If y'all like boogie music or any kind of blues or anything, if you haven't heard of John Lee Hooker and his song Boom Boom, you need to check it out. It's a really good song. So John Lee Hooker and Boom Boom is my pick.
There you go. What about you, Sarah?
Well, mine's not so much music, but I've been, binge watching a lot of content as most people have. So some shows that I would recommend watching. Currently watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is a comedy show about cops with Andy Samberg. It's hilarious, it's goofy, it's silly, but they also address issues, like current issues, and it's just really neat to see their take on it and how the characters work through it. It's often really silly, but it's also got a really good point across, but it's also just a good watch if you just need something to laugh at. And then on the flip side, I've also been watching something called Broadchurch, which is a BBC mystery show, and
I love Broadchurch.
Of a little boy, and it's got David Tennant. If you're familiar with Doctor Who, you know who David Tennant is, and it's just phenomenal acting, great plot. I'm currently watching the second season, so won't spoil anything, but it's an awesome show if you need something that's just really engaging.
I've currently been listening to the late and great Juice WRLD. I've just been missing his music. He passed away a few months ago, and just a great lyrics. He's just something to get you out of a slump. I definitely like music that lifts you up. And honestly, haven't been really watching anything, but I'm really watching random movies like Snow White and the Huntsman and the sequel. And just like I got nothing else to do. Me and my girlfriend will just sit down and watch the most random movies. So it is just any movie you find that's free, I will watch it. But definitely been listening to some Juice WRLD, and if you're into that type of music, definitely give it a listen. But other than that, yeah.
So Austin, since you like movie, have you seen Boondock Saints?
I heard discussing it earlier. I've heard of it. Isn't it a Quentin Tarantino movie?
Oh, no. Okay. So it is on Prime for free right now. You need to watch it. It's about these brothers and gangs and mafia have kind of taken over their city, the city of Boston. Mm-hmm. And they consider themselves saints, blessed by God. They are Catholic. And it turns out, all these people support them, and they just kind of go on this avenging type thing. It's a great movie. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Boondock Saints is a great one.
So. Norman Reedus is in there, so probably a good watch from The Walking Dead. All right, well, I think that's all we got for today. Thank you, everybody, for this is the Student Spin podcast. You can catch us on our next episode on the 22nd, and hopefully you'll give us another listen. And thank you, everybody, again for listening. And this is Austin Williams. Thank you guys for watching. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.